Evening. How are you guys doing? So good to be back again. Welcome to BackChat. This evening we're chatting to Coach Hennie Kriel. We've got a coach in the building. It's been a while since we've had a coach, but I think it's going to be a very good one. Always good to hear from the coaches and to hear what they have to say about this amazing sport that we love so much. So happy New Year to everybody who's watching. Thanks for joining in. I see y'all. Ethan Noble. I see you. Collins Caroline. Zwain, Kleinhans, welcome guys. Simply Q, oh panels, we miss you brother. All the way in the United States of America. Kiggs, the high jumper, I see you. Welcome. Resejo, Ruan. I'm gonna send Coach Hennie invite. So make sure guys, if you've got questions, send your questions through. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to chat with Coach Hennie Kriel. Coach.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I just need to get my volume up a little bit. Yes, that's perfect.
Perfecto Mondo. Okay, I can also hear you clearly.
Awesome.
It's such an honor to have you here, Coach. And super excited for this one. I hope the people who are watching are excited too.
Yeah. No, the honor is definitely mine. I mean, you guys doing so great work for athletics. I really appreciate your invitation.
Oh, you know what, sir, Coach, without the work you put in and without the athletes running these fast times, our work is boring. You know, people don't want to see slow times. So when your athletes are running fast, they love us and we love you. So it's the love is shared.
That's now your way to put pressure on me, nah?
Absolutely. But yeah, thank you. For those who are joining in, welcome guys. Good to have you here. We did do a few welcomes. We'll do some more a bit later. But yeah, tune in. Remember, if you have any questions, send your questions through. We're going to have a nice chat with Coach Hennie. But before we do that, Coach, I have to do an introduction so that those who are watching can know exactly who we're dealing with here. And then we'll get started with the chat. Is that fine?
Fine. No problem.
Perfecto. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
It should be short.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen very carefully. With us this evening, we've got Coach Hennie Kriel. He is an IAAF level 3 coach, SA under 18 200 meter silver medalist. Not many know that, Coach. We'll touch on that later. Former Blue Bulls fitness or / conditioning coach. He has coached 3 athletes to sub 10 seconds, coached 1 athlete to sub 20 seconds, has coached an athlete to sub 13 seconds on the 100 meter hurdles. And then we've got multiple athletes who have broken national records, under 18, under 20, senior level, international and continental medals from athletes at youth, junior, senior level. Coach, you've almost done it all. We just need an Olympic medal, then we're done. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Hennie Kriel. And that is my introduction to you. So it's very impressive, and it just shows the work you've been putting in over these years. It's definitely paid off, and I think athletics in South Africa has really benefited from it. So thank you for your work.
No, you know, I'm listening to what you're saying. I have to tell you, I've done very, very little. The honor should go to the athletes. You know, I see every day what they put in, and
yes,
you know, once they're in the blocks, they're by themselves. Nobody told them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is so true. But I mean, it's a teamwork. I think that there's a part of athletics where, you know, they talk about individual sport, but most of it, I think you've seen over the years, the bigger or the stronger you've made the team, supporting team around the athletes, the easier it is to achieve your goals and their goals and even dreams, you know. So you do play a big role. Yeah, and I don't think there's anybody who gets more stressed when an athlete is in the blocks.
Yeah, so sometimes, you know, when athletes in the block, some of the others not competing at that moment sitting next to me, and they sometimes amazed on the stress, because normally I'm not a stressful person, you know, but yeah, sometimes it is stressful, yeah.
Yeah, it's very tough work. And also, I want to congratulate you on your nomination for the Ecpa Awards, the Backtrack Ecpa Awards. You know, it shows that the people were voting and they see the work you're doing, you know. And I think it's a simple honor from the athletes or the people that are watching and the supporters of our athletes voting for the people they want to see being honored. And I think congratulations on that as well.
Oh, thank you. It was really a huge honor for you guys to nominate me. And, I mean, such great coaches in the country. I was really honored.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach. And then let's get started. So, Coach Hennie Kriel, not always a coach. You were once upon a time another normal person in South Africa. You were running track and field as well. Let's talk about this. Where did your athletics journey start?
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in sports from a very young age at school. Luckily, I was born with a fair amount of speed and ball sense, so I played. Actually, in the primary school, I wasn't that fast, but I played rugby, cricket, all those sports, and I was fortunate in the days that I competed. Only a small percentage of the population competed. So if I look today at sprinters, I was very fortunate to have that opportunity. Yeah, and I just the other day, my mother-in-law at the time, because I knew the family at the time, I was still at school, but she took a 8mm movie about the race. So I saw it the other day. I'm not sure I was second. I think I was third. But there was no photo finish. No photo finish. So
yeah. So we'll have to take that second. We'll work on that second. That's what was recorded. Yeah. So obviously, coming from, I think you ran many years back, and you said so much has changed in the sport from when you were running to where most of your athletes are now. But winning a medal at under 18 level, under 18, so 16, 17 years old, what goes through your mind? Is the ambition to say, listen, I want to become a professional athlete, or does that just from a...
Well, you must understand, the concept of professional athlete did not exist at the time. You must also understand we were isolated. So we only competed in South Africa. So to become a national champion or win a medal at championships was huge. And I had a dream to become a Springbok. So at the time, it works like this. When you go into the senior ranks after the national championships, they select a Springbok team. So that was a huge drive. So at the end of the day, I had no excuse. I was just not good enough. I have to say, in 1980. So normally the qualifying times for national team was more or less what the Olympic qualifying times was. So in 1980, I reached the qualifying time for 200. But I also have to say we were, I think, 4 or 5 that reached that qualifying time. So, and if we were able to go, I'm sure I would not have gone. The other guys were faster than me. But yeah, that's almost my. I've got 2 claims to fame concerning athletics. One is qualifying 1980, reaching the qualifying standard for the Olympics, which was 20.8 at the time, and also a couple of years later, I think about 80. Yeah, maybe 1980, 81. I was part of the 4x200 meter relay team that broke the South African record that stood for 23 years. But you see, it's an event they very seldom run. So,
yeah. No, but yeah, okay. So there's those are the bits of information that you don't always get. But thanks, So you're a former SA record holder. And the list is just growing and growing. I mean, you broke the 21 yourself, and I think do you think does it play a significant role in you being a good coach? It seems like the trend is if you're an athlete, you're good, but not completely world class, as in you turned. Those coaches tend to always understand how to get to the level. Do you find it was the same for you, or you would have just liked to run faster?
To be honest, I think there's a lot of truth in what you say. Not taking away from some very good athletes. If I think about Hennie Kriel, he competed at the same time than me. He broke South African senior record. He was a Springbok, and he's a world-class coach today. So there is a couple of them. But I think athletes who reach the top end, maybe the hunger to stay in performance sport, maybe not that big. I'm not sure. But yeah, you're right. It seems that we are, I don't want to say I'm a good coach, but I couldn't achieve as an athlete, and that maybe was part of On the other hand, sport was in my blood all the time. I actually knew I will coach. I'm actually a teacher. By profession, I'm a teacher.
Yes.
And so coaching comes easy to me because coaching is teaching,
Absolutely. No, obviously you did, for those who don't know, you studied at Pretoria Technikon. That's the old Groenkloof campus, no?
No, not Pretoria Technikon, Pretoria Teachers Training College,
Teachers
which
Training
was
College.
later included at the universities as part of the education department. But
Yes,
the old
at
times we had,
Groenkloof, right?
yes. First of all, in
Yes.
Sunnyside, the old campus. I studied at Sunnyside.
Okay.
And then I moved to the Groenkloof campus, and I later worked at the college. I was the athletics manager when we moved to the new campus. Yeah, the Groenkloof campus.
So obviously, like you said, teaching is in the blood. That's what I mean. Coaching, I think the best coach is pretty much the best sports teacher, because it's all about taking concepts in sport and trying to get the athletes to understand and then execute it. And then you also obviously had a transition to rugby, Blue Bulls. Is it a conditioning coach? Is it a fitness coach?
So it can be a very long story. I'll try to keep it short. As I said, I grew up, I played rugby at a fairly high level, not a provincial level. I loved the game, as most Afrikaans speaking guys love rugby. And I was in athletics, and I was at the time working at, I actually told the story, the long version today to Ethan Noel, one of my athletes.
Yes.
He asked me about this earlier today. So I was working at a time at Correctional Services in their sports office, and it was in 1995. So Correctional Services was appointed as the government department that's going to implement transformation. So I was in meetings setting up that whole system, and I realized that I'm going to stay where I am. And I said, I want to coach full time. And a friend of mine, Phil Pretorius, I worked with him at Ecpa, the Teachers Training College. I saw in the paper that he was appointed as the coach of SWD, the Eagles in George.
Yes.
And I called him and I said, this is fantastic. How did it happen? He said, let's have coffee and he will tell me. So I met up with him and we talked. And then I said, Phil, but how can I get involved in the fitness world in rugby? Because I want to coach full time. And he said, you want to do that? I said, for sure. He said, don't you want to go with me to SWD? I said, oh, are you sure? Because at the time, rugby just turned professional, and they haven't had the know-how. And supposedly, we and athletics had it. And he asked me to go with him, and I met up with Hennie Kriel. So Phil stayed 1 year, he resigned. Hennie became the head coach, and I worked with him for 9 years. I came with him to the Bulls. And you mentioned about team in coaching athletics. I learned a lot in those 9 years, working in a team environment. And you're so right that although for the athletes, the individual sport, it's a huge team effort. And I must be honest, the 9 years being in a professional setup, see what to analyze, how to use information to improve not only yourself, but the information that's available through research, and then implement that. So I spent 9 years in professional rugby. That was huge. That made a big difference in my career as a coach.
Absolutely. So at what point did you decide, coach, that, okay, rugby, I've done it 9 years, I've had enough. I've reached the peak of my rugby career.
So it's not always on your own accord. So you see what happens in professional sport. If the team loses, then all of a sudden contracts under threat. So maybe I don't want to go into detail, but it was the end for me. And I realized that it was good years. With the Bulls, we won the Currie Cup 3 years in a row. And actually, this year is 20
I wouldn't
years.
mind that now, coach. I wouldn't mind that now at all.
Oh, well, the Bulls won it 2021. So, So,
3 years.
That was 2002, 3, and 4. And we're going to have a 20 years reunion this year. It's 20 years later. See how fast time goes. So, that was fantastic years. And I was not sure I'm going to coach again. And she's a coach now, Lucinda. At the time, her surname was Liebenberg. She's now married. She came to ask me to coach her 400 hurdles. And I was not sure, and it took me 2 days. And I said yes. And that was 2008. And that's how I started again,
It's amazing. I mean, there's a touch of destiny over there. Thank you, Lucinda, for that, bringing this coach back onto the track. So you're back on the track now, coach. It's athletics. It's almost, I want to say it's your first love, you know, because as much as you did spend 9 years in rugby, you're back home now. It's a fresh start. You've learned all the information in team sports. Now you're back to that sport where people run in one lane as fast as they can. What were you able to bring from a team sport environment into coaching individual athletes? Obviously, it's almost a professional sport to what IAAF back then stood for amateur international amateur sport. How do you transition into that into this space?
So it was actually easy. It's just to bring that professionalism into the sport. So I didn't coach full time immediately, and I sort of, when I started again 2008, in 2014 I started to coach full time, and I should have done that much earlier. I can see in the results when I was full time. So all my energy, all my time going into study, research, analyze, coaching 2 sessions a day, being there. Some athletes cannot train now later on. So it just made a huge difference, first of all. And then setting personal goals. So in a team sport, you play on Saturday, you win or you lose. If you lose, it's not good enough, especially with the Bulls. People don't accept it. So the coach, Hennie, always said, we didn't lose a lot. I think our winning margin was something like 83%. But when you lose a match, you always said this. The nice thing is, guys, next Saturday you've got another opportunity. So the turnaround is quickly, and you very seldom is a draw. You win or you lose. When you lose, it's not good. The media is on you, and I've learned to accept that. When results is not good enough, take responsibility. See what you have to change. But the biggest thing is this, Themba. During the months of August, September, October, November is when you won. And when you break records, the work you put in there is going to determine your season. And I've seen that. Manyika was very good with that. Off-season training, it was very tough on the players because that determines your results. We always said, in our case with the rugby, he said the Currie Cup final is just to go and accept the trophy. So with athletics, national championships is to collect the medal. It's not to win it. It's been won during those months. And you as a coach need to show up with training sessions, with energy, with a good plan, and drive them. That's the time to drive them. Not coming February, March. It's too late.
I like that, coach. I think that philosophy is a lot of maybe young athletes take that for granted, you know, but it's definitely where the medals are lost and won. Let's do a few welcomes. I see some big coaches are jumping in here. We've got Coach Paul Forrest has just jumped in. I saw the likes of Life Pillay is in here. Let me see who else is in here. I see T.S. Limau is in here, Coach Tenolo. Shout out to him.
Mentioning all those big names, you start to put pressure on me now.
here's another phenomenal coach, not on the track necessarily, but off the track. We've got Obi King Sprints is in here. Oba King, obviously. He's here. The people want to hear this information, coach. So I'm going to have to dig in deeper, maybe into program sets. I don't know, guys. If you want to ask those things, please do so. We've got Nkobolo all the way from Botswana is here. Renier 800, the new 800 sensation is in the building as well. Rebellious Nolo is in here. We've got Sibusiso Matsenjwa. Yo, coach, you've pulled in some big names here. Jason Koopman, who else? I can't get everybody, but yeah, thanks for joining, guys. We see you. We appreciate you being here. Let's continue, coach. So you said off season. Oh, Taylor Kavanagh. I see Ethan Noble is in here as well. All right, now we can continue. Off season is where the work is done. Let's talk about this, coach. I think this is going to be probably one of the most important things we're going to get to. Then there's the philosophies and so on, which comes after. Breaking 10 in South Africa is you've done it with 3 individual athletes, which means somehow you must have some kind of formula. You know, if you do it 3 times, it's not luck anymore. Once, we can twice, I don't know. That journey. Talk about for you as a coach, was there a mental barrier just as much as the athletes had the mental barrier to break this mark?
No, so you see, first of all, you as a coach needs to accept it can be done. It's not that difficult. Because if you have a barrier, that barrier will also become the athlete's barrier. So I ran and I grew up in a time where the belief in South Africa was that you cannot break sub 10 seconds if you're not on the dope. You're not using. So as long as that is your belief, that will be your belief. And somewhere, and especially with the rugby, you know, I was fortunate also with the rugby to went 3 times on Super 12 tours to New Zealand, Australia, and we start to win there. So you have to really believe and live that this is possible, and then it becomes easy. So all 3 those times, in the case of Enrico, I was not with him. He was in Europe by himself, but he sent early Sunday morning. I knew he was running a heat in Le Chaux de Fonds. It's one of the highlights of my career as a coach to receive. He just said 997. So that was awesome. With the other 2, you know, Tandu did it twice. The first time wind aided. Gift did it twice, or the first time also wind aided. But it's an unbelievable feeling for a coach to be in the stand and you see the board. Money cannot pay that. So yeah, and you know, actually, as a coach, you must get used to it.
Yeah.
It must be easy for you. I predicted Gift sub 10. I told people on the track that he's ready. He's going to do it because I know him so without taking his time. All right. So first of all, you as a coach, you have to believe the athlete's got a potential and it's going to happen. And you know what's interesting? And you as an athlete, you will agree now what I'm going to say to you. Running fast times comes easy. It's the bad times that you struggle to run. Those times you're really struggling, it's the bad times. When the body is ready, everything is ready, it's easy. It comes so easy. All right?
Natural.
And that's part of preparation. When the preparation is in place and the body is ready, the times will come. Don't search. Absolutely. I always say this, don't search for speed. Speed will find you when everything is ready. All right.
Yeah, I'm
not an 800 meters coach, so you can decide yourself how it's going to work in 800. But in speed, it's easy. When the body is ready, the speed will find you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying I hope somebody has a notepad out there, coach. The speed will find you. Put that down. And I mean, I think it's your philosophy, because the way you mentioned it, coach, it started already September, October, November. So during that whole process of searching for speed, the speed eventually, when the time is right, it finds you and it looks natural. And I think all the athletes that run fast times, some expected, but most of them are shocked because it's not as thoroughly planned that today this is what's going to happen. You're just going through the motions, everything you've been doing, and at the right time, bing.
You know, while talking, I realized something. So I also coach 400 hurdles. So with the longer events, 400, I almost take times every time they run. But with the sprinters, I seldom take times. Seldom. Wow. Because it's not accurate. You know, making a slight mistake in a 80 or 60 meters is a big thing. So I seldom take times in sprints. Yeah. There's a couple of athletes that would like for you to take times, and previous athletes that I coach, and I can think of a specific one. So running fast in training, and they cannot reproduce it in competition, because I realize this, it put unnecessary pressure on you. When you run these fast times now in training, you expand. It's not accurate. First of all, you have to understand, it's not accurate. Doesn't matter what your method is. Now all of a sudden comes Saturday where it's absolute accurate and you're a little bit off. You see, it puts doubt. Just to mention, not only coaching Gift, but I cannot remember when last I took a training time of him. But I know him so well, coaching him for 7 years. I can see when he hits form. So maybe it's, and I say, while talking now, I just realized this, that, you know, it's seldom where I take times for the sprinters.
That's such amazing information, especially like you said. I mean, to get which coach, I don't know which coach can hit those times accurately.
No, it's not possible. I mean, you're 70 meters in front of them. How can you see what is the reaction there?
I see I got a message here, coach, from Tabo Matibiri. He says, my father in coaching, Madala himself. You know, that's obvious.
Coach
You
T,
and
Coach T,
Tibos.
amazing journey for him.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys work together. You both of you, I mean, alongside each other, you've changed track and field sprints, athletics, you know.
So you see, that's life. I started to assist him. He came to help me, you know, and then eventually he produced the world champion. You know, I haven't coached a world champion 100 meters. Yeah, he coached 100 meters world champion. He surpassed me.
Wow, that's a big compliment from a big coach to another big coach. We got Kurt Kuto saying, Coach Hennie, big homie. I don't know if you and Kurt Kuto are homies, coach, but that's what Kurt Kuto is saying. Vato. Yeah, so that's a message from him. And then we also have, see if I see more messages, I'll bring them up later. Okay, coach, we need to continue. Hey, this time is running now. So obviously, you said when everything goes well in the training, and especially with sprint training, it's something that you've been able, but I mean, it's also, let's talk about the relationship between athlete and coach, because these are things that you'll only be able to, you know, when gift is eating form, because you've watched and observed, you know his body language, you know his attitude, you know what he's thinking, what he's not. How important is it for the athlete to trust the coach, number one, and the coach to trust the athlete? Yeah. It must be something that you believe in.
No, obviously, it's a given. That relationship is very important. But now, the athlete's got a specific personality. I'm coaching different athletes. I've got a specific personality. Your personality also plays a huge role. There's not a fixed way to do this. You need to develop your own personality. And that's why not all relationships work. You know, between a coach and athlete, it's a relationship. And not all relationships work out. And athletes sometimes come and they go. And when they leave, I try not to make it too personal. Sometimes it is personal. But, you know, we are actually just shepherds. We mustn't make our role too big. We've got a time to look after people, guide them, nurture them a little bit. Yeah, but in general, I'm generalizing and I include myself. We overcoach. We overtrain people. So we need to be careful. So that relationship obviously is very, very important, you know. And there's such special moments with athletes. You've referred to the 3 sub-10 performances. Yeah, that's huge. Another performance that was huge was seeing Wenda Nel winning a bronze medal at Commonwealth Games. And you know, when me and her discussed this, I'm still a little bit angry with her because she should have won the race. But how she fought eventually to win it. But I will tell you this interesting story, and that's something that developed between athlete and coach. When she did the warm-up, she was in a form of her life. And in the warm-up, she liked to do 2 hurdles, coming out of the blocks, last run 2 hurdles, and she was flying. She was really flying. I could see that. And she turned around and she walked to me with big eyes, and she said the following. She said, Coach, did you see what I feel? And I made a mistake there. I should have cautioned her, because what happened in the final, she went out. She was so psyched up that she went out too fast. She was running away from the field in the back straight, and that almost cost her the medal. That cost her the gold medal. But I should have cautioned her there. For a moment, I wanted to, but she was in such a high, I had to make a decision, so I left her. And I realized after, I should have just said to her to be patient in the back straight, you see? So we mustn't overplay our role. We mustn't. At the end of the day, we're working with super people, super bodies, and we must just allow them to express themselves.
Wow. I like that, Coach. That's very powerful advice. We've got a question here. This is coming from OB King Sprints. Oba King. He's asking a question for Coach Hennie. What is your opinion on periodization for elite female short distance sprinters? Short to long or long to short, and why?
All right. So first of all, it depends on the athlete. Certain athletes will do better with short to long, and others will better. So it depends on the athlete. I think more times short to long will be better. But what I found also works well is a combination of the two. But it depends on the athlete. Your more powerful, muscular athletes, short to long. Your more elastic type athletes, long to short. But again, I want to caution. You see, talking about periodization, training programs, speaking is very left brain thinking, analytical thinking, which we should start there. But at the end, when you're on the track, it moves to right brain thinking. We have to change. So I always say this is powerful. People should make a note of this. I start by saying the road map is not the road. It's just a map. The training program is not the training. All right. So you do your planning. But how can I sit here tonight, plan for the next 2 weeks, and know how they will feel next week, Wednesday? So
don't
do the planning. Have a periodization plan, but it's just a plan. It's not, it's like the photo. The photo is not the person. So we need to be careful with this. And I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. I'm a left brain person. I'm very good analytical. I had to teach and to get the experience to think much more right brain, which is, I believe now, one of my strengths. But you have to plan. But to come back to the question, it's not a fixing. It's what is working for this athlete is not going to work for the other one.
Absolutely. That's powerful advice. The photo is not the real person. My right brain is my right brain always runs to the images and pictures. But I mean, I think what you're saying there, coach, is, I mean, that's powerful. I mean, to hear that from a top elite coach, it makes so much sense, because, you know, when you get taught the theory of sport, it's all about do this over this certain amount of time. But I mean, human beings are not machines, so you have to leave room for
that is what we call linear thinking. You see, and we are taught that way. You do this, then you do this, then you do this, and you're going to get this result. No, it's not working. We work in systems. The body is a system. The combination between coach and athlete system. We work in systems. We don't work with computer programs. So we work with human beings, emotional people. So that's why I say, you know, for coaches, let me be blunt with you. And it took me some time to understand this, and sometimes I even still struggle with it. For a coach, you must leave your ego at the gate. The sport is about athletes, and there's already a lot of big egos amongst athletes. So leave your ego at the gate and just nurture them. You're a shepherd. That's your job. Just look after them.
I love the coach. Powerful advice. This was one of the questions I wanted to ask, but I think you kind of answered it, but maybe it will be different now. A moment, what moment in your coaching career would you say was the most significant? It doesn't have to be the biggest. It doesn't have to be the smallest. I mean, you've got more than enough memories. But which one would you say, this one is the one that kept me going?
Yeah, it's, unfortunately, I have to say, it's the first day I stepped onto a track to coach. I realized this is what I want to do. When I still competed, I realized I want to coach. And I literally stopped one day, and the next day I started coaching athletes. So that was probably the most significant as a coach. Highlights, there was a lot. There was a lot. There's quite a number of moments that I can recall, and that's the nice thing. But I think the moment is that when I stepped onto the training track to do my first session as a coach, I realized this is what I like doing. This is what's giving me energy, and this is what will drive me going forward. And you know what I have to tell you tonight? My big contribution, whatever that might be, as a coach, is ahead of me. It's not behind me.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're still a young man. Kurt Kuter says homie. Anybody who's been called a homie is somebody who is young, full of life, you know, energetic, bubbly.
Yeah, you see, this is now probably some Mozambican saying, you know, I'm not sure.
Absolutely, Coach. Another thing that I wanna, before we wrap it up, you know, I don't want to go much longer. I know we can. You've got family as well, and you need to do some planning programs for tomorrow. You know, a message. What message of, especially to coaches? I mean, coaches in South Africa. Even when we decided to have the awards, we said, you know, coaches are being overlooked too much. More needs to be done. I mean, acknowledging them is one thing, and then there's the other side where there has to be proper structure to support coaches on a financial and whatever level as well. But what advice would you give to any individual who has that passion for coaching? They know they want to be a coach in athletics. They've got the passion, they've got the fire, desire, and everything. What advice do you give them when they go and start off like you did on your first day coaching?
Very easy. Learn, 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 read, watch videos, listen to other people, not only in athletics, other sporting coaches. Learn and listen. But I want to add something to that. I see so many very good coaches that struggles to make the next step.
Okay.
And because that is something that I aspire to, is to move to the next step all the time.
Yes,
and
yes.
So some people will refer to this as high performance coaching. Well, I'm reluctant to use the word, because what exactly is that? But let's use it, for a lack of a better word at the moment, how to transfer from being a good coach to a high performance coach. And to put it in a very easy way is, you must make a plan. You must make a plan. When things doesn't go the way you want, you must make a plan. Sometimes it's instantly, sometimes it's over a period of time, because when the results come, it's only the athlete's name, the position, and the time. That's it. There's no column for excuses. So there's no time for excuses. And I learned that from rugby. You want to play, it's like football, team sport. A team sport is brutal. You win or you lose. When you lose, you're not good enough. When you win, doesn't matter how, you're the hero. So in athletics, we get away because there's 8 athletes. You can be last and run a PB, and then it was a great race. So it's not as brutal. But as I said, there's no column for excuses. So when the results is not the way you like it, or you want your athletes, take responsibility, see what you can do differently, but make a plan. There's no place for excuses. Take responsibility.
I love that, coach. I love that. In closing, a message to a lot of people are jumping in, coach. We even got 800-meter runners here.
Yeah, we see these days 800 is a sprint.
Yeah, of course. So he wants to learn some some mechanics as well. We've got Cornell Fredericks. I see you. Wouter Tisetso, Omo Moody, welcome. Alyssa Conley. She's in here. Maybe she's also going to get some tips and come back and do some. Wenda Nell is in here. Sorry, Wenda, I didn't see you, but she's been here. Wenda, greetings. Who else am I missing? Caroline Musime, that's your athlete, is in the building. So, yeah, coach, brilliant chats.
I just want to correct something. None of them are my athletes. It's our athletes. I'm just looking after them, our athletes. I'm just privileged to work with them.
You heard, Caroline, you are our athlete. We helped you achieve whatever you achieved. Okay, it's we. Thank you, coach, for clearing that. But in closing, coach, a message to those that are watching and supporting. What would you like to say? Even just for South Africa, a message just to encourage the South African community.
Because of the rain this afternoon, I came home a little bit earlier and I put on the television and I watched the cricket. So proud when we won.
Yes.
South Africa, I've traveled the world through sport. I've been to more than 40 countries in the world, mainly through sport. So I've seen the world. South Africa is the greatest country in the world. Every time coming back. So see South African sports people achieve is fantastic. And having coaches giving their time, giving their lives to help is unbelievable. So to the coaches out there, do as you do, go forward, become better. Let's put South Africa up there. I'll have to share this with you. I'm not going to neglect anything, but my next big drive is to contribute. I'm not the only one, but I'm going to contribute to get South African female sprinting up there on the same level than male sprinters. It's just not good enough with our talent that we're not only 1 sub-11 seconds, while we now it's 6 sub-10. It's not good enough. So I'm going to contribute to move that up. So for all the coaches, thank you, and go out and express yourself and learn and teach the young ones and enjoy the sport. It's something to enjoy. Somebody asked me, Hennie, did you go on a holiday? I said, I'm on holiday every day of my life.
Come on, Coach Hennie. You've got me psyched up, your contribution, your energy, your willingness. I know, I mean, like even when I asked you, let's do the chat, coach, you like, Temba, I don't usually do these things, but for Backtrack, you know, I'll definitely climb on the live, we'll figure it out. We chatted how we're gonna do it. You're here, and I mean, we appreciate it, coach, because these stories, sometimes they see that you with the whistle, they don't understand the stories that come behind and who you are as an individual. Yeah. So now they've got a small glimpse.
I want to interrupt you now. As the names pass here, and I see there are some athletes that I used to coach. Not all relationships ended very well. But, you know, I want to say to every athlete listening here that I coached somewhere, thank you. Thank you for what you contributed to my coaching career and to my life. You have enriched my life. Even if we left on a foot that was not nice, doesn't matter. Somewhere you played a role in my life, and I was honored to coach you. So, you know, I think even the ones that ended not so well, I think on the great moments. Luckily, I'm very good with that. I can recall great moments. And, I'm honored. I'm really honored.
Thanks, Coach. I think that's another positive step to this sport, because, you know, one thing we've learned in our journey as well, you know, Erwin Schmidt, Leon, now we've got Akani, Kurt Guto, and, you know, so many other athletes that as well that have contributed into growing. You know, we've always said we have to keep it simple. It always has to be by athletes for athletes. As long as we take care of the athletes, you know, and we look out for the athletes, no matter how good or bad things are going, we keep it simple. It's all about positive news and following the athletes. The coaches, you know, what you guys have done to this sport as well. I mean, it's really made South Africa known worldwide. I mean, at the moment now, South African athletics, people are watching. They want to know who's the next junior or who's the next senior or whatever. And I mean, that's not an exaggeration, and that's because of the work that the coaches have put in. So keep it up, coach. We want another. Whatever year you are now, we need to double that whilst you're still blowing whistles.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks. Thanks to everybody who was tuned in and watched. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We had the legendary Coach Hennie Kriel in the building. We can say one of SA's best sprint coaches. I'm not gonna say any more than that, Coach. But thank you for your time. Thanks to everybody who joined in and watched, guys. It was amazing. I see Ashley Kungwane says, Ash Best says, you also played a big role in our life. I mean, these are athletes as well.
You know why Ashley is so tall? They taught him to swim in a borrow.
Oh my goodness, in a bowl. All right, Coach, thanks so much. We'll definitely have to do this again sometime, maybe towards the later in the season. But yeah, thanks for that. AC Speedster, Lessa Conley says, let's do this, Coach. Female sprinters development. We're holding it. If there's anything I'm gonna hold you to, Coach, in this whole chat that we had, that's the only one. Female sprinters development.
I'm not one for predictions. I predict the national record's gonna go in 100 meters for females this season.
Yeah. Okay. You heard it. You heard it straight, guys. I didn't say it. You've heard it, Coach. On that note, thank you very much. Have a good evening, and we'll see you on the track soon. We've got some competitions that are coming.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll see you soon on the track. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back again next week. We've got more chats lined up. We're going to try bringing more coaches. I think it's always good to hear the masterminds behind the machines. Not machines, like you said, Coach, the human beings. But thanks, guys. We'll see you again next week. Tune in. Send your questions. Let's keep it going. Take care. God bless. Nda.